And good morning, everybody. This is Ralph with our Space for the Day Daily Motivation from the Tarot. And today we're taking a look at the Wheel of Fortune card. Now, the Wheel of Fortune card can stand for change. It's a good archetype of change. The wheel is always in motion. Things are always changing. And it's hard to tell what is going to pop up. But now with the Wheel of Fortune, generally we tend to think of that as being associated with positive change. However, sometimes the Wheel of Fortune can also stand for negative change. It depends on what the question is, what the other cards in the tarot spread are that you're looking at, that sort of thing. But yeah, the meanings on all of these cards can be quite fluid. But generally, the Wheel of Fortune stands for change, usually positive change. Now, a lesson that we can learn from the Wheel of Fortune is that we shouldn't be passive in waiting for change to come. So many times in tarot reading, and I've seen this in astrology, I've seen this in all aspects of life. But I mean, we see people who will ask questions like, will I get some money today? And of course, the reader could ask the question, what are you doing to attract money into your life? Another question that comes up in tarot readings is, will I find love today? Which, of course, begs the question, what are you doing to attract love into your life? A common misconception that so many people have is that they think that change in their life depends on other people, other things, other circumstances. Now, a lesson that we can take away from this is a saying that I have here by Jim Rohn. For things to change, you have to change. For things to be different, you have to be different. Before financial success, or really any other success can occur, personal growth must happen. And that's a valuable lesson there from Jim Rohn, is that we can't just be waiting around, sitting around hoping for things to get better. If you want your life to change, what you need to do is sit down and figure out, what do I need to change in my life for things to get better? And this applies to finance, this applies to your career, this applies to any aspect of life. For things to change, you have to change. And when we're talking about things like tarot, astrology, or horoscope, things that most people will tend to associate with divination, they tend to associate that also with fate. You know, will the stars be kind to me today? Will the gods be kind to me today? And a lot of times people will forget about their own responsibility. And that's where I love that quote from Jim Rohn. For things to change, you have to change. So one problem that we can get into when we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune card is that so many times people will look at that as meaning things are going to change without me doing anything about it. And that's not really the case. Things can change, but you have to take an active part in your own life. You have to become an active participant in your own life. One tarot reader, he's gone now, but man, this guy was a force to be reckoned with in his days. We lost him last year. But Vincent Pettisi, He wrote a lot of books actually. I'm just now beginning this one. He wrote the book Bare Bones Tarot, which I am just starting to read. I've had it on the shelf for several months and I'm blowing the dust off of it now and reading through it. But one definition that Vince Patisi gives for the Wheel of Fortune is cycles of consciousness. And I love that way of looking at the Wheel of Fortune. Cycles of consciousness. Because how do we perceive things in life? How do we perceive whether an event is good or bad? How do we judge that? Well, it's through our level of consciousness. Some people, a party's ending, they're sad because it's over. Other people, at the end of a party, they're still happy, the party's over, but they're happy because they had the chance to enjoy themselves. They're not mourning the loss, they're celebrating the fact that they had the experience, that it happened. Cycles of consciousness. And that's another lesson that we can learn from the Wheel of Fortune, is that if we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at will change. Things that we may look at and think of as being disasters, with the right level of consciousness, we may take a look at that and say, man, that's a good thing. It's good that that happened. Things have been going without change for too long. It's good that things are finally beginning to change around here. So our level of consciousness, where we are at in our own conscious development, plays a big role in how we deal with change, whether we're facilitating change or whether we're fighting change, and whether or not we're really ready for change when change happens. And this is another important lesson that we can learn from the Wheel of Fortune card, is that sometimes we go through life and we have an unexpected windfall. Sometimes an unexpected windfall that occurs after an unexpected tragedy. And I've known two women in my life so far. Both lost husbands on the job. One was crushed to death beneath a forklift that he was driving. The other was killed when he was trimming trees, and the trimming bucket that he was working in malfunctioned, and it went crashing to the ground with him in it. Both women lost husbands suddenly, unexpectedly. Both women received unexpected sudden windfalls of money. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars in legal settlements that they suddenly got. Both were in the class, I'll just say, working poor. A lot of folks there, no shame in it. And both, within a year or 2 years, were right back to being struggling financially. Why, you might add? Why, you might ask? Would two women who suddenly came into tens of thousands of dollars find themselves broke after a year or two of receiving that kind of money? Well, the answer to that goes right back to Jim Rohn. For things to change, you have to change. And if you get into a position where you're suddenly gifted with a huge amount of money, like people that win the lottery, life-changing wins in the lottery, $1 million winners in the lottery, the vast majority of those people, after 1 year, are in worse shape than they were before they won the lottery. Why? Because they didn't change. Their circumstances changed, their money supply changed, but their own inner attitudes about managing money and squandering money and wasting money. That stuff didn't change. And so the only thing that happened is that instead of squandering like hundreds of dollars, a couple $100 a week, let's say, they got into the habit of being able to squander thousands of dollars a week. Because why not? You know, I've got the money, let's spend it. And if you don't know how to manage money, if you don't know how to set goals for yourself, if you don't have the discipline to manage things in your life and do them well, then anything that the universe is going to give you, you will tend to squander. And I've seen this a lot, being an advisor, being a motivational coach, home-based business person. I've seen this in a lot of different areas, is that people will go from making a little bit of money and living paycheck to paycheck, and then suddenly they'll start making some sales. They'll start getting a lot more money coming in. Maybe they'll get another job, a better job. And instead of living off of a couple $100 a week, suddenly they got $500, $600, $700 a week coming in. But they're still living paycheck to paycheck because they just haven't developed the mental discipline to manage money well. And if you don't manage a little bit of money well, odds are you're not going to manage a great deal of money well either. You've got to develop that discipline. So change, even when we see positive change coming into life, like winning the lottery, winning tens of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, that can actually have a negative impact on our life if we don't know how to manage that change well. So with the Wheel of Fortune card, we can see in that yes, it means change, change in fortune, positive change, things of that nature, but we shouldn't be passive about it. If we're seeing an energy of change coming into our life, it's wise to be able to work with it. Some people will see things changing, and they'll be pretty good about working with the change. Other people will hate the change that they see coming, and they'll be working at fighting the change every step of the way. And again, the problem is that when we tend to fight something, we tend to make it stronger. We tend to empower it more. If we work with something in a proactive way, then we can shape the change more towards our own desired outcome. But when it comes to change, a lot of times we don't like change. We want to stay, right in our own little comfort zone for as long as we can. And when something happens to shake up that change, we don't want to deal with it, and we fight it every step of the way, and then we lose the opportunity to help shape the change that's coming and make it work more for our benefit rather than penalizing us. So another thought that we can attribute to the Wheel of Fortune card. Now, what I'm going to do for the rest of this space is I've got 9 cards dealt out. I don't know what they are. Plus, I've got the Wheel of Fortune card. And instead of doing a general 3-card reading, I'm going to go ahead and do a full 10-card reading. And the spread that I'm using is a spread that I call the Patisi spread reimagined. Vincent Patisi had a way that he would read the Celtic cross spread, but he would ask general questions meant to answer what, when, why, how are things going to happen. He liked to answer those questions in a tarot reading. And after seeing him do that a few times, I decided I liked the questions he was asking in the tarot spread, but I didn't really like doing it in the format of a Celtic cross. So I've reimagined it into more of a grid pattern, which, what can I say? I'm more of a nerd, more logical. Yeah, the grids speak to me more so than the Celtic cross. But yeah, I'm going to do my version of the Patisi spread reimagined, and we're going to answer the question, what will be the main energy of this day? You know, will this be a good day? Will this be a bad day? I know that's incredibly vague, but we got a lot of people that tend to listen to the recordings of these broadcasts. So I have to keep it kind of general. But what is the general energy of this day? Monday. Man, Monday. Yeah, a lot of people don't like Mondays. They got to change from Sunday to Monday and go to work. And some people may be on the drive to work right now listening to this little space. But yeah, what is the energy of this day? And one of the cards is going to be the Wheel of Fortune. The other 9 cards, I haven't a clue. So we're going to deal it out and see what kind of an answer we get. So, cards 1 and 2. I'm going to lay them down, and I'm going to turn them over. Cards 1 and 2 in the Patisi spread deal with what is the question. What is the question that we are asking? And card number 1 is the Tower. This is a great card to come up because relating to the Wheel of Fortune, the Tower also speaks to change. Sudden, drastic change. Sometimes, mostly, we tend to associate the change of the Tower card with a disaster, like losing your job. But it can also be something happy, like finding out that you're pregnant and having a baby. Sometimes that news, when it comes at you suddenly and you're not expecting it, may seem like your whole world is coming apart. But then after a little while, once things begin to seep in, you begin to realize this is a blessed, miraculous event. And a lot of times, I don't know, boyfriends, husbands that are in this situation, sometimes guys don't react to that kind of information too well. But yeah, the Tower can stand for change, either positive or negative. So yeah, the question here about change. What changes can we see coming into this day? Second card, also talking about the question at hand. And wow, that is the Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, definitely here. We're talking about change, and we're wondering, how can we work with this change? Taking a more active role with the change. But yeah, what changes do we see coming up? What is the energy of this day? How can we take that energy and make it work out to something positive? Now, the third card. This represents the objective. And the card that came up is the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, mastery of finance, mastery of things in the material realm. And that fits because a lot of people, when we're thinking about change, we want to know, how is this going to affect me where I live? My finances, my material possessions, my relationships. How is this going to affect me and my community? So yeah, basically it's the what's in it for me card, talking about what changes are going to occur. So now, card number 4. In the Patisi spread, this card represents an asset. Something that you have working for you that you may not even realize that you have. And the card that just came up is the Hierophant. Hierophant card speaks of bridging. You know, bridges between other people, bridges between you and the cosmos, you and the God of your understanding. So faith can be an asset that you have right now. Facing change. Sometimes people will look at change and they'll be sad. They'll go into despair. They will be not wanting to sacrifice. But through faith, we can look at a situation. We can see that it's changing. And we can see that there is the possibility that the changes are going to be for the good. And if we just change the way we look at things, we can actually have the faith to be able to see things, positive things, that don't yet exist. And Jim Rohn, this is a quote that I looked up just the other night. Got it fresh in my head right now. Faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. And faith can turn difficulty into positive reality. So if we look at the changes, we're scared, we don't want to deal with it, we will run, we'll hide, we won't work with the energy, and then we'll get run over by it. But if we have that asset of faith to be able to work with the situation to the best of our ability, shape the change as it's coming, we can utilize that as a huge asset. Now the fifth card, and this is an opportunity. What opportunities do we have? And the card that just came up is the Seven of Wands. Seven stand for perfection. Wand stands for excellence and prevailing in any given situation. So the desire to prevail is strong in this situation. The faith that you will be able to succeed. Faith can mean religious faith. It can also mean self-confidence. And if you have the self-confidence that you have it within you to face down any difficulty in life, then you can stare down any change and prevail. And that's what the Seven of Wands card is saying here. You have the ability to prevail in this struggle that you're going through right now. Card number 6, the client's perspective. 5 of Wands. And this speaks to change. 5s generally is the number of change. 5 of Wands also speaks to struggle. So again, things being very fluid, things still in motion. And it may feel like your life is a struggle right now. But again, work with that energy. Don't run away. Don't shy away. Face it down. Work with it to the best of your ability. And work change to your advantage rather than let it run you over. Current activities. This is card number 7. Current activities, we're getting very, very meditative. The card is the High Priestess, and that stands for listening to your inner advisor, which is good. It's a good way to start the day. Don't spend your entire day listening to your inner advisor and just doing nothing but meditating. But if you're able to start the day in a quiet meditation, listening to the universe, asking your questions and listening to the response, listening to the answer, learning how to bring your intuition into focus and using intuition, strengthening your intuition. Again, that can be another superpower. A superpower that everybody has access to, but which very few people actually develop. So yeah, current activities, reflection, contemplation, and not always a bad thing if you can overdo it. But if you do a good amount of it, the proper amount of it, then it can actually be a strength. Now, the why. Why are we asking about the energy of this day? What is it that we really want to do here? Why are we asking the question? And here, the card is the Ace of Wands. Start of a new day. We're wanting to see how we can focus our creative energy so that we can meet the daily challenges and adjust change for the better. And now the timing. Is now the right time to act? Should we wait? Should we grab the bull by the horns and spit in both eyes, as an old saying I was raised with goes? Or should we just go back to bed and forget about it? Well, the card that just came up is the Six of Wands, which indicates victory. So I would say the time to act is now. Confront whatever changes that are going on in your life are, work with them creatively, and try to shape them for your benefit. And now the answer to what will be the outcome card, card number 10, is the 10 of Pentacles. Work with change creatively, work with change to the best of your ability, success will ensue. Maybe not immediate success, because I'm looking at the Five of Wands card there. Sometimes we get into struggle and that's all we can see. All we can see are the problems. But with time, with patience, with a little bit of mental focus and discipline, we learn to be able to see the opportunities that exist in every problem in life. So, again, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will begin to change as well. So that's the lesson for today in a 10-card spread. Yeah, work with change, even if the change seems to be disastrous. Even if it's a change like losing your job or losing a stream of income. Instead of falling into a pit of despair, figure out what you can do to creatively manage that change. Figure out how you can develop a level of faith that allows you to see things that don't yet exist and then be able to actively work for that outcome in life. A lot of times people will go through some major disastrous changes and they'll just stay stuck. They'll be mourning the loss for weeks, for months, maybe even for years. They'll be stuck in that sad place and they won't be able to move on in their life. Other people, they'll go through the same traumatic change. They'll mourn the loss for a few days, and then they'll pick up the pieces and start to carry on again and create for themselves a life even better than the one that they lost. Wayne Dyer, a guy I love to listen to, told a story about how he was giving an interview at a radio station. It was, what was it? It was music radio, and they were making a transition to talk radio. I forget exactly which way it was going, or talk radio, music radio, I don't know. But they were making some major changes in that radio station. And as a result, every disc jockey at that radio station was getting fired. They were getting laid off. They were being given their pink slip saying, sorry, we no longer need you. We're going to this new format. Thanks for your service. Have a nice day. And a lot of them were very sad. Wayne Dyer walked into that building, picked up on what was going on, picked up that practically every DJ he would encounter that day had just gotten a pink slip and was losing their job. And his reaction was, congratulations. And the guys looked at him like, are you nuts? I'm losing my job. I've got 2 weeks notice and I've got to find something else to do. This is terrible. And Wayne Dyer just said, congratulations. This is a big change for you. And if you work with it right, you can shape things so that things are even better for you a year from now than what they are currently. And in this story, Wayne Dyer says that he followed up with a number of these DJs that had lost their job, found out they were losing their job that day that he went down to that radio station to give an interview. And he followed back up with them after 1 year. And he said in almost every case, their life was much better improved than what it had been before. One guy had actually taken the time to sit down, write his own opera, and have it produced, something he never would have done had he kept his job at that radio station. So how we manage change can be a superpower, and having that faith that tells us, okay, it may seem like disaster on the surface, but we can work with this mess and we can bring something beautiful out of this mess. For me, for my family, for my community, just have to have the eyes to see the opportunity in every difficulty and the faith to work towards the end, the outcome that we desire. So that's kind of a lengthy explanation of what I see here in this spread. But yeah, sudden change is coming, but changes that we can work with. And so whatever changes you're facing down right now in your life, have the faith that you have what it takes to work with that change and start asking yourself the question, what do I need to do to take an active role and to help shape this change to my benefit rather than getting steamrolled under it? So that is our 10-card reading for today. I think I'm going to go back to just 3-card readings after this. It makes the presentation quite a bit longer. But I just wanted to demonstrate the Patisi spread. In this, we answered the questions, what is the question? What is the objective? What assets do we have? What opportunities may present themselves? What is the client's perspective, the client's point of view? What actions are currently happening right now? What actions, if any, is the client taking? Why is the client doing these things? What time should we be acting? When should we be acting? And what will be the outcome? So, and I kind of like how that spread answers those questions. So, that is all for now. I think I've rambled on long enough. If you would like to reach out and book your own 10-card reading, asking your own questions, actually it's can become more than just a 10-card reading, because what we do here at Reverend Heidi Tarot, a business that I've formed with my wife, we've been doing tarot readings since 2011 professionally. But the way that we do tarot is that we will sell our sessions by the half hour, not by the card. So if you have a question, it takes us 30 minutes to answer it. We charge a certain amount of money for that time. But yeah, we will lay out as many cards as it takes, ask as many questions as it takes to get clarity and to find out what is going on in your life and how you can take action to see the outcome in your life that you want to see. And we have sessions that we sell for 30 minutes for $45. 1 hour session goes for $90. And a 90-minute session goes for $135. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, go to our main website, reverendheiditarot.net, and I will put that link in the description of this space down below, so you can find us online more easily. And if for some reason you can't find it, reach out to me wherever you are hearing this presentation. Be more than happy to send that link your way. But yeah, we've been doing this since 2011 professionally, and both my wife and I have been reading tarot since the 1970s. So it's been more than just a passing hobby for us. It's really become a way of life. So that's all for now. Thank you for dropping by. This is Ralph signing out. We'll be back tomorrow with another presentation of Daily Motivation from the Tarot. And in tomorrow's broadcast at 7 a.m. Central, we'll be talking about the Justice card. Lessons we can learn from the Justice card. Till then, have a great day. Ralph signing out. Have a good one. Bye-bye.